welcome to another video. If you haven't watched my last video where I spoke about coming to terms and accepting your disability, today's topic is having a disability and how it affects you when it comes to socialization. We touched a little bit on this on my last video, and we're going to go more into it today. Ramya is joining me once again to have this great conversation. So hello and welcome, Ramya.
Hey, Sarah. Yeah, it was a really good conversation. Both you and I have experiences using the white cane. We're both low vision, and we've had some struggles getting used to the idea of us being white cane users. There's a lot of background to that, but we didn't really get too much to socializing. So I thought we could get um, a little more perspective on social life today when it comes to accepting our disability, coming to terms with it, taking control of it, however you want to say it, really.
Yeah.
So when you weren't using your cane in social settings, how was that different from when you started using your cane around friends, family, community events, stuff like that?
When I didn't use my white cane, I, got away with quote unquote just fitting in and being normal. And as soon as I brought out my white cane, or when I needed to take it out in social settings, um, how you get viewed, how you get treated, really change. So for example, if you are with someone that's sighted and if you have your white cane, people or individuals would address the person that is with me and not me as a person. Also, so this is not in the social setting context, but like traveling with my white cane versus not using my white cane. So on public transit, automatically you're offered a seat, or you're kind of forced to sit in a seat because, it's like you have a disability, you have a white cane. Therefore, you have to be in a seat.
Like societal norms of what people with disabilities should be like.
Exactly. And also just, a lot of times I think like when people see the white cane, whether you're at a party or some sort of gathering, people just get very uncomfortable. They might not outrightly say it, but I don't know about you, Ramya, but I kind of get a good sense of people's vibes a lot of times. And I just sense that uncomfortable, that awkward vibe that kind of just comes off of people.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then that makes me then uncomfortable of just then having my white cane. At first, those are some of the things that I kind of like struggled with.
You know when you can really sense people's awkward vibes? When you know there's someone in front of you, but they won't say anything and they're waiting for you to say something, and then you end up bumping into them anyway because they were quiet at the same time. Like stuff like that, where people have this weird idea, or I guess it's not weird, maybe it feels like an authentic idea for them, but people have ideas of what disability is supposed to be, and then they kind of box you up in that, right? So we were saying in the last video that not everyone is a white cane user who has a low vision, right? Or who has a vision impairment. But people think like you're either blind or you're sighted. So you use a cane or you don't, or you have a guide dog or you don't. People have a hard time grasping the spectrum of some people have sight loss, but they don't use a white cane, right? Or some people
Yeah.
travel with a white cane at nighttime, but they don't necessarily need it in familiar areas at daytime, like me and you.
So me and you, we do have some sight. So a lot of times, even when we have our white cane out as a self-identifier, we might see things and we might point that out. And then people kind of, I've had this experience. It's like, but you have a cane. I thought you can't see. And then it's like, I do have some vision. I have limited vision. But it's very black and white. Or then it's like, okay, so if you can see that, then why do you have a white cane?
And honestly, like when we were teens, we did a lot of like joking around and teasing each other with stuff like that. As a group, some people totally blind, some people partially sighted but legally blind, some people who aren't legally blind but they're vision impaired, some people white cane users, some people not. We'd make fun of each other and say stuff like, "Oh, are you sure
Mhm.
you're blind?" Ha ha ha. But in a real situation, especially when you're with an able-bodied person and especially a stranger, you do feel that awkwardness of like, okay, so, how much should I explain to you about my vision? Or are you just secretly judging me in your head or something like that?
Have you been in any social big gathering, like a wedding or a huge like party where you kind of debated taking your white cane?
Absolutely. And it's not just in the past, it's currently. I'm always battling with myself, especially when it comes to community events. And when I say community, I'm Sri Lankan Tamil. So when I go to community events with people from Sri Lanka, and a lot of people I've known since I was a kid, they're like family and extended family and friends of family. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always like, oh my gosh. And especially because I went so many years without using a cane and now I use it literally as soon as I walk out of my door, I'm taking my cane with me, right? There's this weird situation where I feel like, oh man, I'm wearing Tamil clothes. Like my cane doesn't fit this side of my identity.
It doesn't go with my wardrobe.
Yeah, but the wardrobe is just the symbol of the fact that when I'm experiencing things with my Tamil people, I don't have a cane with me. They don't know me as a cane user. So I'm sitting here going, "Oh my God, I'm sure people are just going to be polite and just going to, be so formal with me now because they now know that I'm a low vision person using a white cane, or they pity you or whatever." Don't you feel that that kind of experience is very unique because you come from so many different backgrounds. Like in my mind, you're, like you're Muslim, you're a woman,
Yeah,
you're Indian,
yeah,
you're low vision. Like there's all this different intersectionality, right? Which is what
for
we
sure.
talk about a lot this year and last year.
Yeah.
So you feel like the cane can be part of some of it, and the cane can be not part of some of it.
It's really interesting, and I think as individuals with vision loss, we kind of have to like figure that out for ourselves, or figure like try to see, okay, try to bring it in at all times, and just embrace it, I would say. Or like you said, like going to a community event and not having it just doesn't, I don't want to say appropriate, but it's a very unique experience
Yeah.
of just going into a community um, setting or gathering and not have a white cane. But Remy, one thing you touched on your last video is you wanting to use your white cane, like, clarify me or not, or like think your mom was wanting you to use the vision that you have and not use your white cane. I've kind of had the opposite experience. Is my mom always would tell me if I was going somewhere on my own, make sure you take your cane, make sure you use your white cane, so people know that you have a disability, and people know, so if you were to supposedly bump into somebody, or if you knocked over someone, people are not going to yell at you or say things to you if you don't have your white cane.
No kidding. Yeah, because there's tons of people who've yelled, cussed, whatever at me on the street, in subway stations, and stairwells because I hadn't used my cane and they thought I was just drunk or high and
Yeah,
bashing into them, or like just disrespectful, right? So,
especially the yellow signs. Those yellow wet
yes,
signs. Those are so common, especially because we don't have depth perceptions and it just
people
blends in
all
with
the
the
time.
floor.
All the time, exactly. And I would pick them up now, but when I was a teen, I was like, oh well, So, um,
Yeah, I just kind of run away as fast as I could and just
exactly.
pretend I never saw it.
Yeah, 100%. I totally think that it makes a huge difference in even years later. Like it's been years since my mom had told me, don't use your white cane because you're going to lose the vision that you could use by leaning on your white cane, as a crutch, right? So I think years later, even though I'm using my white cane now, there are parts of what she said in the back of my mind. And I'm thinking, oh, but what if, the community feels the same way, the Tamil community, or what if I feel judged, or it's better off if I just don't bring it along and just take someone's arm. No one's going to ask questions, are they? Because nobody says stuff to your face. How about you? Do you think that it makes a huge difference what your mom has said to you and the way that she presented you using your white cane?
Now that I think about it, and I think I was just going through a rebellious phase back then, because the more people told me to do something, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. But yes, it definitely, like, now thinking about it, it does make sense, because if I were to bump into something, or if I didn't see something, obviously people are going to look at me or judge me, or be like, didn't you not see that? Or, make all these, negative connotations. And then the truth is, like, yes, I actually did not see it, but they would not know, because I don't have something to identify me as having a physical disability.
Exactly.
But one last thing I think I just want to ask Ramya is, because we were speaking about socialization. So when you have gone to parties, or I would say, pubs and things like that, and it's pretty dark in those type of settings. So what has your experience like in that area with using a white cane or not using a white cane?
Yeah, and I've gone to a lot of these kinds of settings without my white cane before, so I know how difficult it is because my vision is completely useless in the dark. Like with all those lights, it might as well be pitch black in my opinion, because I can't see anything. I can't see the menus. I can't see my dinner plate. I can't see the utensils or people walking by or whatever, right? So I have had very embarrassing experiences going into places like that without my white cane, faking it for the most part if my sighted guide wasn't around me. Like usually I'd go with a friend who obviously knows my situation, right? Like when you're a teen, you have a group of friends who know. They know that I can't see without them being there. They know that they're not just going to leave me anywhere. So I am hooked to them. Like we're literally arm in arm all night. Um,
Yeah.
and so when we don't have the white cane with us and these people leave, like let's say my friend went into the washroom and then the waiter came over and was like, would you like a drink? I have no idea if they're talking to me. I'm not even gonna act like heard them. That's what I usually do. I just hang my head and completely try to disappear so that people don't even realize that I'm paying attention or they're trying to get my attention or something like that. So I've really embarrassed myself like that before. Um, but and you've said this in your last video, Sarah, that's why it's really important to me now that I'm using my white cane, even with all the other little things like not being very confident using it within my own community. But it's super important because you feel like it talks for you. Kelly says this all the time on Kelly and Company. It talks for you. It speaks for you. It makes you feel like you don't have to do all the explaining. Somebody goes, "Oh, yeah, she's got a white cane. She can't see." You know?
And I think I'm still struggling with this in my own community, and just walking around, having my white cane. And this is something that I'm still learning to do, and being okay doing it.
And that's come a long way. Like we all know that we're not at like this perfect, amazing, beautiful, 100% ideal situation, but it's coming a long way from where we were at 15 and 16.
The older we get, there's more self growth and self identity that's happening, right?
Well, thanks for inviting me on the convo again.
No problem. Thanks for coming on, and we'll love to have you again for another great discussion. Thanks for watching. I know in our last video and in this video, we've mentioned Kelly and Company. If you guys want to check out, it's a live afternoon show that talks about lifestyle entertainment. And Rami, you can correct me if I'm missing anything else.
Nah, you got it. Like entertainment, lifestyle, arts, food, whatever you want, culture. We talk about
You
everything.
guys can find them on the AMI website, which is Accessible Media Inc. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I would love to hear from you guys. So leave your comments below and stay tuned.